Okay, it's going.
Okay.
What's up, guys? We're back
Hello.
for another movie review. Rob,
Holly.
and we just saw Ready or Not,
Yep.
and it was pretty good.
Yeah, I liked it.
It was this actually. There's been a couple of good popcorn movies this year.
Mhm.
Who was it went saw Crawl with me?
I did.
You did. That's right. And it actually didn't suck.
Memory
Even
is
though,
the first thing to go.
yeah, it's, what do you want me to tell you? Which I mean that was good. Other than obviously the plot's ridiculous, and the two leads had better constitution than Wolverine, but it was actually a pretty good popcorn film.
Yeah.
And this was another really good popcorn film. I mean, it's exactly what it looks like. It's basically, for anybody who hasn't seen the trailer for it, it's basically a woman marries into this super rich family. They're actually a family. They're a gaming family, like Milton Bradley or something like that.
Yeah, they're descended from the founder of what has become a huge game corporation.
Yeah, like a game, like they own professional sports teams at this point and everything.
Yeah.
Like at one point, she makes the joke that they have more money than God.
Mm-hmm.
So they're this uber rich family that was built on gaming.
Mm-hmm. And as it shows in the trailer, one of the members of the family marries this innocent woman who has no idea what she's getting into or what's going on, and then he tells her that on the wedding night at midnight they have to play a game, and it turns out that it could be any game. It could be chess, it could be checkers. You have to draw randomly from a deck of cards, and there's one bad card.
There's one card that's like super bad, and it's the card that she pulls.
The hide and seek card, and if you pick that card, that means that you hide, but everybody in the family has to try to kill you.
Yeah.
And it just so happens that's the card she picks.
Yeah.
And what you see in the trailer is pretty much what you get.
There's a lot of dark comedic moments.
Yes.
Especially with the kills.
Yes.
Some of the kills are.
Some of the kills actually made me laugh a little
actually,
bit.
the two best kills are actually in the trailer. The one where the one man gets shot in the face, and although what happens after that is actually the funny part, and then the one gets shot through the mouth.
That was in the. I didn't think.
Yeah, no,
those
those were both in the trailer, so that is not a spoiler. But some of the other, there's a lot of very darkly comedic moments in this movie.
Yep.
And it's kind of like it would be kind of like Murder by Death or Clue if they dialed it up to 11.
Yeah.
Like the gore factor, the death, the murder and the blood, they dialed it up to notches unknown.
There were so many elements of the movie that reminded me of parts from other movies.
Yeah.
Where I was like, okay, this reminds me of this movie, and this reminds me of this movie. Production design, the house they built is amazing. It's an amazing house that if anybody actually owned and lived in a house like this, you'd be like, I'm getting the fuck out of here, because the house itself tells you some fucked up shit
creepy
going
as
on.
Shit.
Yeah, I mean, a house with like walkways and service walkways in the walls and everything, like, Okay.
Full disclosure on that though. If I was
cool.
ridiculously rich and
It
shit,
would be
I would build a house like that just to be because.
Yeah, I mean,
I'd have like weird rooms with I'd have a fucking laboratory in the bottom of it with all the weird the weird machines.
Just to fuck with people.
Yeah, just to fuck around, man.
But there's a difference. I mean, even Penn Jillette has built a house like that. There's a difference between people who build houses like that now and houses that still exist that are like that from way back when, that clearly weren't built by people who were just trying to be cool and edgy.
This is the servant's walkway. It goes all the way through the house. Why the fuck do you need that? Because I'm gonna sneak in and do weird shit. That's why. And that's the way that house is. But the design of it and everything's bad.
Yeah,
it's awesome.
Design very mansion, very maze, very not original but remake of House on Haunted Hill-esque.
A lot of cool woodwork and stuff.
But they've updated it with a security system throughout, so there's video cameras everywhere.
Yeah.
And they start off by trying to adhere to the traditional way of hunting people, like, we're not going to use the cameras.
Yeah.
And then at one point they have the founding fathers never intended this kind of argument. Why don't we just use the cameras, because we need them to find her.
The more desperate they get, the more they're like, okay, we're going to ditch the bullshit rules.
Yeah, they start trying to adhere to the rules, and then as it goes on, they're like, let's just, it's not necessary.
Yeah. We're going to try not to spoil the movie as much as possible. There might be a little spoiler here and there. There's a lot of the typical tropes in the movie. You got the creepy. I thought she was the grandmother at first, but she's the aunt.
Yeah, the sister.
The dour faced mean aunt who's like 100% like.
We must do this.
We must spill the blood, blah, that kind of shit.
Mm-hmm.
You've got the father who's the patriarch, who kind of as things go more and more off the rails gets more and more frantic and like, you think it's a fucking game? Well, yeah.
I couldn't tell if Andie MacDowell was supposed to be the father's younger sister or if she was a daughter.
She's his wife. That's his wife.
His wife, right,
yeah.
right. Okay, yeah.
She's
that's
the wife.
Right. She's the mom.
Yeah, the old lady that we thought was the grandmother or something. That's his sister.
Yeah, that's what's confusing me. There's a lot of people in this movie, and I'm trying to figure out who's related to who by marriage, by relation, by.
Yeah. And there are they do throw a couple of little twists, but if you're watching the movie and paying attention, they're not a twist. You know exactly what's coming.
I don't know how many people. I mean, not a lot of people are as voracious movie watchers as we are. So, what is an obvious trope to us, something that we see coming because we've seen it before, other people might not see coming.
Oh, all right, maybe.
So, just because we're able to predict it, it's like I forget who said it. Some like philosopher or somebody wrote that there's only like 7 plots in the world.
Someone much smarter than us.
Yes, some writer of writing about drama said there's only 7 plots in the world, and every single movie falls into one of those 7 categories.
Yeah.
And when you watch a lot of movies, it becomes more and more difficult to see something that you consider original because everything is something that you've seen before.
We're just jaded.
Yeah, exactly. We've seen everything
before. It's like,
before.
what was that episode of South Park? Seen it. Simpsons did it.
Exactly.
Simpsons did it.
Simpsons did it. But just because we recognize it doesn't mean that the trope is necessarily bad.
No, like I said, this was a good, fun popcorn movie. It's nice to watch a movie that isn't from Disney.
Yes. I found myself imagining, I don't know why this kept entering my head, but because of the way it starts and where it winds up, I found myself wishing that a movie like this could have been made like 30 or 40 years ago, like in the 50s and stuff. Like having in the same era as the original House on the Haunted Hill, but just as like hardcore, even though they never.
There's no way in hell
they never would have done it.
No,
but
I mean they might have done the murder angle or something.
But I found myself as I was watching it thinking that this would have been a hell of a like surprise for people who are used to even horror movies that aren't that hardcore to suddenly have a story that starts out seeming like it's going to go in one direction and then have it go hard like. It is an R, definitely. It is a hard R.
In fact, when we were walking out, there were 2 people that actually left the theater.
We don't know why they left.
I don't know why if they one of them sick, or it's possible that the violence got to them or something. I don't know.
The way they asked, it sounded like they had to leave for some other reason. It didn't sound like.
I don't know, but I'm gonna trope it. I'm gonna build whatever story the fuck I want in my head. So they left because it was too hardcore.
I doubt it, but anyway.
Don't shit on my dreams.
I don't know what's safe to. I'm trying to think of what's been indicated in the trailer. That way I know. Okay, we can talk about this.
Okay, so I can't. I don't know any of the actors. Except for the dad,
Andie MacDowell.
Well, Andie MacDowell, the mother. That's right, and that's it. I don't really know anybody else.
I was looking at the name for who plays Grace, and
don't know who the hell it is.
I saw the name. The name wasn't familiar to me. I think it's the same girl who's in Crawl, isn't it?
No.
They're all starting to look the same to me. She looked like Margot Robbie to me for a while.
That actually, when I first saw the trailer, I saw who it
was. They're all looking the same to me now. I can't differentiate between.
Well, they all go to the same plastic surgeon.
It's a Margot Robbie lookalike woman, and I apologize to that actress. I don't.
She does a good job. She's fine in this.
Yep. She has the kind of Emma Stone eyes.
I have to say, my favorite character is the cousin. The dude with the crossbow.
Yeah.
And I was talking to Tom about this. I was like, I don't know why, because they don't really act like anything like each other, but I got vibes of Otho from Beetlejuice. Otho from Beetlejuice. I don't know why. It's just he just has that kind of almost like a foppish air to him.
He has the appearance of Otho. That's probably why it reminded me.
A little bit, but it's just kind of like the way he's like. He's like, oh my god, who made this thing? This thing is like it was like, oh, get it away from me. He just kind of had like a little bit of a
I didn't get that at all.
As the movie goes on, but like in the trailer, that's what I got from him. I thought that's what he was gonna be. He was gonna be like this and like, oh, get away from me. I'm super important.
No.
That kind of thing. But that's not who he is. He's more of a dude, bro.
Yeah.
In the movie, especially the way he's talking on his stuff. Family shit.
Yep.
But so that was actually I actually liked that, the fact that he wasn't who I thought he was.
In the trailer, you see that her new husband, the son in the family, genuinely loves her and doesn't want her to have to go through this, and so he's trying to help her. Now, as you're sitting there, you're wondering, okay, is it going to stay this way? What's going to happen? You don't know, and I don't want to spoil it for you. There are some people in the family who are very adamant, we have to do this has to be done, or something horrible is going to happen to our family.
The brother's wife is like she's like 110% on board. She's like, I ain't going back to like poverty or dying. Yeah. I'll cut a bitch.
And then there are some people who are still determined to do it, but they're showing reluctance. Like, I like this girl, I don't want to do this, and so you don't know if at any point some are going to turn against other members of the family, if some of them are going to turn out or wind up helping her. You don't know who's going to wind up doing that.
Which is one of the things that happens, because like every time somebody dies, they're like, does that count? Does that count? and the other one's like, well, everyone stop asking if that fucking counts.
It has to be the bride.
It has to be the bride. And so it's like, they're not all cold-blooded murderers.
Well, it seems like they're not clear on the specifics of the rules either. It's like, so wait, is it just anybody who has to die, or no? The aunt is like, no, it has to be the bride.
You get the sense too that they don't except for like a couple of them, they're not 100% on board with believing it either.
Yeah, they're not sure, but they don't want to take the chance.
Yeah, they're not 100% on. Yeah, they don't want to. They're basically, they're just basically doing it to cover their ass.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, there are a couple of twists.
That would be twists if you are not so familiar with movies that you can see every twist coming. But that's just our problem.
And as far as entertainment goes, it was a fun movie.
Yep.
It was like, if you're coming into this looking for some acting tour de force or the most like some kind of a dramatic something that's going to bring a tear to your eye, you move the fuck on, because you're not going to get that here.
Even though the acting on the part of the girl who plays the main woman, Grace, and the guy who plays the son, they have some like really emotional moments in the movie, and their acting is amazing. Like, they're
I wouldn't say it was amazing, but it's good.
It is good. If they were giving the same performances in a drama movie, they'd be applauded for it. But because it's this type of movie, nobody gives a shit.
Some of the kills I wouldn't say that they're very elaborate, but they're pretty intense.
Yeah.
It's kind of like I'm trying to think of a movie that could, as far as like the way the kills are like presented and stuff. I keep going back to Cabin in the Woods.
There were parts of the movie that reminded me of Cabin in the Woods. There were also parts that almost reminded me of Final Destination. There were parts that reminded me of a standard slasher flick, only instead of one guy hunting down the final girl, it's a whole bunch of people.
There's definitely some final girl tropes.
Yep, definitely some final girl tropes. Although, to the movie's credit, or maybe it's to other directors' credit, who... Maybe I've just been watching too much Tarantino, where I'm I'm prepared for any possible eventuality, where I'm like, you never know what's going to happen, who's going to die, who's not going to die. So I genuinely didn't know what was going to happen to the girl. I didn't know whether she was going to make it or not. Maybe she would wind up dying. But again, I'm thinking, well, maybe this isn't a Tarantino movie. Wait a minute.
Yeah.
So there were a lot of things where, even though in my head I had about 2 or 3 outcomes that I thought, okay, it's either going to be this, or this, and what it wound up being was one of the ones that I considered. But just the fact that I had to consider multiple endings in my head because I didn't know which one it was going to be, that's to the movie's credit.
Yeah.
If it was so predictable that you're certain you know what's going to happen without any alternative possibilities, like, oh, I know where they're going, that's when your movie's too predictable, even for an average moviegoer.
Yeah. It was like I said, I wasn't like, oh wow, you threw me for a loop for that. But it was like, all right,
Yeah. Okay.
and there are some, and like I said, there are some genuinely funny moments in this movie. Like I actually busted out laughing at one point at the end. It's I'm trying to think if there's anything in this movie that's going to set anybody off. I don't think there is.
Set anybody off?
Well, like just like, I can't believe you did that. Like, killing a kid or something like that.
Now, if they're going into a hard R movie with like people you gotta know what you're getting at.
Look who you're talking about. All right. Have you seen that that skit that bit that Dave Chappelle did in his last stand up, and it pissed off everybody. So I mean, it doesn't take much to piss people off these days. I'm just trying to think, but in this movie, I don't think there's anything in there like that.
No.
So it's
try not
I also
to
like the
spoil
fact
anything.
that not, and this isn't much of a spoiler, the butler.
Mm-hmm.
I was expecting it to be like the whole the prim proper whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
He kind of skirts it a little bit though. It's more of a
Not quite a bad.
He almost strikes me as more like he's a company man.
Yeah, I was gonna say, he's not quite a badass, but he's more active. He has a more active role in this ritual.
Yeah.
Like he's like a cleanup guy in the family kind of thing.
Yeah. Which that was actually one of the funny moments too, was the cell phone thing. Anyway, I'm not gonna get into that. But
and there was a parallel to a movie that we didn't like, but it was not that this movie it was wrong. It was just one of those things that I thought of as it happened. I was like, man, these police took a long time to get here.
oh jeez, yeah, it's again
in a lot of
there
movies.
are tropes
Yeah.
in horror films, and one of them is cops never show up. They either never show up on time, or when they do, they're either completely stupid and they get killed,
It's like,
or it's against a supernatural killer and they just get mowed down.
it's like, dude, I called you like 3 years ago. Where the
Yeah.
fuck?
Yeah, the scene that she's talking about, and the scene that she's the scene that starts that she's talking about. I'm literally through like the rest of the movie. I'm going, where are the cops?
Yeah, where are the cops?
Nobody showed up. Nobody found all the stuff that was out there. They were like, holy shit, we need to go find this person.
Same thing with that trip safe guy. Like when somebody is screaming at you that someone's trying to kill you, I think they have policies. They're allowed to be like, yeah, they're not just gonna shut the car down. Sorry, you can't do anything. Like,
yeah, I think it probably would have been. I personally would have done that scene a little differently.
yeah,
But there are tropes. There are
Yeah.
some typical horror tropes in this movie. It's
horror trope.
horror.
Horror.
It's like Will Wheaton. Say Will Wheaton. Now say Will Wheaton. Will Wheaton. Cool Whip.
Cool. Why are you saying it like that? Like what?
There are some typical horror tropes.
Okay. Yes.
Friggin' grammar Nazi.
Yes, there are.
Anyway, but yeah, I don't think I'm gonna go any further into the movie on this. I'm just gonna say it was a good movie.
It was fun. It was entertaining.
I would definitely say if we want more movies that aren't Disney, definitely go check this movie out.
If I wanted to rate it, like, is it worth, like other movie viewers have ratings, like, is it worth a full price, matinee, rental, that sort of thing? I'd say matinee. It's definitely matinee.
Yeah,
work.
I'll use the ranking that my favorite reviewer does, and I'll say I wouldn't kick it out of bed for eating crackers.
That doesn't sound like a very high rating. What's his rating system?
Dude, have you ever, no, somebody eating crackers in your bed sucks. And I'm like, hey, you know what? I like it so much, I wouldn't kick it out of bed if it was eating crackers.
What's the rating system of this person? Like, the ranking, like...
Best ranking is See It Now. Next ranking is Matinee. Third is wouldn't kick it out of bed for eating crackers.
That sounds like...
Then it's Netflix. then it's pass, and then it's burn it and piss on its ashes. This is a middle of the it's a little bit above middle of the road for me. If you don't see it, you're not gonna it's like, oh my god, I can't believe I missed this movie. But if you want to see an entertaining I don't know, would you call it a horror movie or a thriller?
I'd call it's actually like a slightly comedic slasher film.
Yeah. So I would say it's more of a horror film. If you want to see a decent above average horror film,
yes, definitely.
Check it out.
With the horror genre filled with so many movies that are such shit, I would say it's definitely worth going to see it, not only because it's good, but supporting it because we want good horror movies.
Yeah.
I mean, how many sequels
to
The Conjuring off, branches and all this shit that we get now because they're so cheap to make and they make their money back when 2 people buy tickets.
Yeah.
It's like, we want better, more intelligent horror movies. You need to go out and see them and support them. So that's why I say I give it a matinee. At least spend money on it. Go to the theater, go see it. It's worth it. It's good.
I saw that movie Midsommar. That was one of the worst pieces of shit I have ever seen. Everybody's raving about that movie. They raved about that movie Hereditary too.
Yeah, they did.
And I'm like, Hereditary wasn't terrible, but it wasn't great.
I couldn't.
Midsommar was a fucking piece of dog shit.
Now, see, I have not seen any reviews for Midsommar. I was trying to stay away from them. Everybody was talking about Hereditary so much that I couldn't escape how much people were raving about it, and I haven't watched the movie yet because I was afraid that all these people would have affected me to the point where, well, everybody's talking about how great this is now. Anything I see is not going to live up to my expectations now. No. If it's not the greatest thing in the world, I'm going to walk away thinking, eh. So I tried to distance myself and let a lot of time pass before I watch Hereditary because I want to get all the rave out of my head.
Well, we got in a couple of months. When October hits, thank God, we'll start doing we're gonna start doing like horror movie streams and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And one of the ones that Tom and I are already talking about is horror movies that everybody else liked that we thought were shit. and Hereditary is probably gonna be on the list because, like I said, it wasn't terrible, but it wasn't great. Midsommar's gonna be on my friggin' list. That movie sucked. And I'll die on the hill of arguing that.
Well, you're gonna have to let me know when you do those, so I can get in on those.
I send the link out to everybody every week. But anyway, going back to this movie because we went off on a tangent like we always do. Uh-huh. This was a good movie worth going to see. If you're a horror fan, I would say, check it out. It's fun. Mm-hmm. You're not gonna be like, I can't believe I spent money on this piece of crap.
If you're a horror fan, it's worth going to see to support it. Especially being a fan, you want to support the good ones and not the shit ones. So,
this is not one of the shit ones.
Yeah, this one was good.
This one was fun. So yeah, that's my review. I'd say it's definitely worth going to take a look at.
Yeah. What's the next one we got? Before JoJo.
JoJo Rabbit's gonna be awesome. I can already tell it's gonna be awesome.
Is there anything between now and JoJo?
I don't know. I don't think so. Well, I think Star Wars is the next big movie, isn't it? I don't think there's anything else. Well, wait.
Isn't there another Marvel? Doesn't Marvel always have something coming?
No, Marvel's done for this year, actually.
For the
that was one of the things that everybody was talking about was that Spider-Man Far From Home is the last Marvel film until like the end of next year or the beginning of 2022. Something like that. I don't remember. I might be wrong. I might be making that up.
Yeah. That seems too far out. There's got to be a couple coming out next year.
Well, they announced a bunch of stuff. So, but the thing is a lot of the stuff that they're doing, is going on to Disney Plus. So a lot of the Marvel projects that were announced, like they here's Phase 5. Mm-hmm. Like half of what was announced is Disney Plus shit.
But there's gonna be ones released in the theater. Like there's gonna be.
Big of course there are. But
yeah, it's not. But like
honestly,
some next year,
I think Black Widow is the next one.
I don't know how I feel about her getting her own movie.
I want her. She should have gotten her own movie 5 years ago.
That's the thing. Like it seems like it's too far along now.
Well, she's dead now. Which that's the thing. That's one of the things about Endgame that pissed me off. I'm like, really? You're gonna kill her and then you're gonna give her own freaking movie? He's like, well, we're doing this so that we can have a new actress take over the. Yeah, that's not gonna work very well. Anyway, but thanks for being here, guys.
Yep.
check the movie out.
It was good.
And definitely hit like, subscribe, all that stuff. Help the channel out. And we'll see you guys in the next movie.
Yep.
Bye.
Bye.